Well, I said I'd be right back with Jason's burn, but that was yesterday. So we had a long ride here, had supper, and we crashed. I want to make sure I get these done. It echoes a lot in here. I want to make sure I get these done before I head over to the track in a little bit to go with the babies in Pennsylvania. So let me just start with Jason's burn. Let's get that out of the way first and foremost. Oso Pine is racing tonight in Northfield. Obviously, we're trying to slowly get him back on track. He's had a bit of a rough start to the year, to say the least. We're trying to get him back on track. A horse had a rougher start with See You in Tuscany. Outside of one win, he's been abysmal. And we have a lot of clients saying, are we going to sell him? Are we going to move him? I'm not going to move him away from Jason's barn in Ohio. Jason's done a great job for us and done a great job with this colt last year. I don't think it's the training aspect of See You in Tuscany that's the issue. What we would like is to find some cheaper classes. There may not be any for us. We got one more start in that class, assuming he can beat them. So now what? Do we just dump him? Yeah, we could. We could sell him. I had an interesting proposal from one of our clients. They said, the racing in Illinois isn't that tough. Why don't we keep Tuscany and race him out in Illinois with Angie and Rob? It's a possibility. I never really thought of that, to be honest. We'll have to see. Let's see how he races this week, and then we'll make a decision. I'm sure there's some clients out there that maybe want off the bandwagon of See You in Tuscany. If we can find enough people to transition people out of that, we put him on gate. He's going to bring what, $13,000. I'm going to say, if that, maybe a lot less. If there are clients that want to retain See You in Tuscany, I would entertain the idea of sending him to Illinois. Clearly he's not going to be a stake colt here. A bigger track would definitely help him. Big track out in Hawthorne probably suit his racing style. So probably a great idea. Larry had sent that to me, and it was a good idea. So if he doesn't race good this week, I guess we can entertain doing that. Horses that are racing great. West 52nd, and yes, now we'll get the yes in a minute. West 52nd raced the best mile of his life the other night. 54 and a piece. Fastest last half of the race, fastest last quarter of the race, closing. For those of you who said West 52nd doesn't pass horses, passed a couple of them the other night. For those of you who said he's not a fighter, fought right to the wire the other night. It's about managing the horse on the racetrack. And I know Aaron was probably a little pissed off that I took him off the horse. Well, one, I'm not broke down anymore. Two, I think he was probably wondering why I didn't drive Yes. Ryan Stahl has done a great job with Yes. I've said this time and time and time and time again. I don't have to drive the horses. I'm going to do what I think is best for the stable. I'm going to do what's best for our clients. It was pretty obvious that barring any asteroid strikes or airplanes landing on the racetrack, Yes was probably going to win that race, especially from the rail. I wanted to get West 52nd around. I wanted to show you and everybody else that he's not a one-dimensional horse by any standards. For those of you out there writing on the message board about how he is, now you know. It's about, as I said, managing the horse. When you get him wound up at the start, he doesn't come down. He doesn't throttle back. You can leave with him and let him settle if you do it in a gentle way. But if you rev him up, it's game on until he's too tired to keep going. And that's what you saw in a couple of these eliminations. It's not Aaron Merriman's fault. Aaron Merriman's a top-class driver. Aaron Merriman wins 1,000 races a year. It's just knowing this horse. And that's what I told him. I said, I just know this horse. So the horse raced fantastic in the final. Proved that he is a sire stakes horse. And he is. And he'll prove that again next time I sit behind him. Now we get to Yes. Yes raced very, very good. Raced great. Did exactly what he's supposed to. I guess he wasn't supposed to break the world record or the track record, but he did. So the crew was back. How was breakfast? Was it a good breakfast? Hey, Ollie, don't do that. Was it a good breakfast?
Yeah.
Huh? So they got breakfast. I stayed to do this for you. So Yes broke the world record for a 3-year-old gelding on a half-mile track. Broke the track record, obviously, in doing so, and looked very, very good. For those of you saying, when are you driving Yes again? I don't need to drive Yes for a little while. I don't know where the stake is next time or what's going to take place. If I drive him, I drive him. I don't, I don't. But I am going to drive West 52nd. Arvika raced good last week. Now, this is kind of still in Jason's care in Canada with Teresa and Cindy. We didn't move the horse to another barn because she was doing good for those girls. She was racing really well, and Jason was in constant contact with them. There was no reason to move this filly from his name. So Arvika raced good the other night. Tried a 55. She didn't feel, that was the fastest mile of her life, and she looked good doing it. Didn't feel super comfortable. So just have to work on that comfort level with Arvika and get her feet under control. Going to give her a week off and work on those. That won't be a problem. Now we're going to switch gears onto the two-year-old side. Jason had 13 two-year-olds head to him this week. You guys saw Spend That Money crush them in Northfield. I say crush them because she did. 2 moved a 2-year-old trotter to the front. Very un-James-like. 2 moved a 2-year-old trotter to the front. Toyed with them, for those of you that said, while the other horse was coming. He never pulled the earplugs out. She's never had the earplugs deployed from her ears. They were soundly in both times she's raced with them. The last qualifier and then this race. So heading there with Ailsun. Ailsun I trained in 2-1 the other day. Hi, Ollie Bear. Ailsun trained in 2-1 the other day and trained fantastic. Looked great doing it. I was very, very happy with her. Compass Rose DC sat behind me and beat me fair and square. But she raced awesome. She trained awesome. Bend Over. Funny, I never had one person ask why I said he was going to the Sire Stakes. That was some kind of mile in his last qualifier, and I was really, really impressed with him. So Bend Over trained very, very good. School qualified very, very good, and he's in Thursday, I believe, in Scioto. Compass Rose DC, I just finished telling you she's beaten. She has looked great. Now, I'll tell you guys all right now, I don't like giving third-person information, and especially when it may not be pertinent, but this is... Louis Philippois is adamant that Compass Rose DC is the best horse we have, literally. And I haven't sat behind her to say that in a while, but he's certain she is. So very eager to see what she's going to do this week. First big mile on a half-mile track, so I'm a little curious how she's going to behave. Crazy Mission, 1 mile, 2-2, 2-3 the other day. He's racing tomorrow afternoon. Now, I can't drive Crazy Mission. And who's the other colt going to? Oh, the big colt. Sometimes things happen. I can't drive them tomorrow because I have Knockdown Drag Out in the fillies here in the Gold at the same time. So Crazy Mission, I believe Brett Miller is driving those horses. School good the other day. Sylvain said he liked them. So we'll see how he does in Scioto tomorrow. Emerald Miss, another crappy thing. And it's going to be a problem. I can't drive her next Friday. Obviously... I was optimistic about Spirit of Dio, but I did not see that mile coming. I guess I did, kind of. I said she'd trot in 56, but I thought she might need time to do it. And Emerald Miss races the same night as her, and I do not have transporter capability. I cannot be in 2 places at once. So it looks like Aaron Merriman, and this is going to be a trouble, not because it's Aaron Merriman, but because this filly does got a real tender mouth on her. You know, she was great at Kawartha Downs. I have concerns. I hope Aaron gets along really, really well with her. She's a very, very nice filly, and I think she'll show it on Friday night. I hope she will. But I do have a few concerns. I have Excellent Nation on Jason's list, but obviously he isn't going anywhere yet. He's standing at Tomiko. He's going to be X-rayed, I guess, Wednesday afternoon. Globetrotting drew the 8-hole. I think it's tomorrow night. You know, I'll be honest, this filly was ultra impressive at Georgian Downs. I don't care that you do the 8-hole. It's an easy place to get away from. If you can catch the gate halfway down the lane, you can leave like a thoroughbred. I think she'll probably get out really well. I think she'll probably sit really well. And I expect her to do really well. There is a horse in there, Aaron Merriman's, that shows a win. Its first start in 2 minutes also. So it's not like there's no slouches in there. A lot of these horses are ready to go. But from what I saw of Globetrotting at Georgian Downs, very impressive filly. I'm really expecting good things from her. Overdue Mission is racing tonight. She's racing tonight at Cleveland. I'm going to drive her. I expect her to be good. She's been very, very good. So Overdue Mission racing tonight in Cleveland. Rose Run Valiant is racing Thursday afternoon. He's ready to go a big mile. Now, Louis said he was on the left line a little bit. Didn't do any vet work on him because he didn't look that off to me. We're going to just put a line pole on the outside of him loose. Ollie, what are you doing, bud? We're going to put a line pole on the outside loose. Sometimes things happen. We talked about him. He's going to race tomorrow afternoon. He looks really, really good. It says 8%. Just leave it alone for a while, buddy. Ollie has a terrible habit of using his iPad until it goes dead and then just expecting it to charge itself. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. You leave it alone for the morning, you'll be able to play it all afternoon. We got to drive to Cleveland tonight, bud. So if you leave that alone, it should be charged good for tonight.
How long is Cleveland?
2 hours. Just 2 hours. But the same distance to Kawartha Downs. So sometimes things happen. It's going to race tomorrow. I really like this colt. And Jody Jamieson was third behind a couple of our better horses with him the other day. I expect this horse to do well tomorrow. He's been looking really, really good. Spend that money. Not many have looked better than her. She's in Wednesday. James has lobbied some kind of hard to keep the drive on her. Pretty hard not to. You got to turn that right down to 0, bud. Pretty hard not to keep James on the filly. He loves her. He goes with her all the time, and he gets along really well with her. He knows her, and he wants to drive her on Wednesday. So he is, if you've noticed, I'm driving Ailsund and Globetrotting, and James is actually driving Compass Rose DC and spend that money. That's perfectly fine. Susie, our girl Susie, races tonight. I'm eager to race her at Northfield. She's a nice filly. She schooled good again the other day. Sylvain Filion went with her, and she looked great. A couple of you have asked, why didn't you race them? I didn't want to race at Grand River. The maidens were showing going at 2-1, halves and 58, and there was only so many B tracks to go to, and we had a ton of horses. So I just opted to school Susie and Overdue Mission, a couple of Crazy Mission, school those horses and get them ready rather than taking them, putting them in a race just to say we entered them and getting their head kicked in by aged horses. Not something I wanted to do. So Susie, she's tight. So tough our drive was to the Meadows. It's 10:30 and I'm yawning. I've only been up 2 hours. But Susie's sharp and ready to go. Last but certainly not least, yours if you want it. Good mile last week, a little flat in the end of it. Found a few little things, did a little vet work on him. He's going to race Thursday afternoon. And Daddy's going to drive him. James had to stay back at Mohawk. I'm going to drive yours if you want it on Thursday afternoon. So that's Jason's Barn. I'll be back in a minute. We're going to run through some interesting things with the babies. Quick list through all of them. A lot of them are on the front end of this video. So we'll run through the babies really, really quick in just a minute.